But let's go to basketball, Sean. And Team USA, which is 2-0, rolled over Serbia by 26, beat South Sudan, I think it was by 17. And how much you win by matters in terms of seeding. So Steve Kerr came out and said they want to beat Puerto Rico, who they play tomorrow, by as many points as possible because they want to get the number one seed. That means you get a lighter, schedule at least to start out with. So that is the deal with Team USA. And also Joel Embiid will be starting. It was announced that he didn't play. He started every exhibition and an Olympic game that he's played, but he didn't play at all in the last game against South Sudan. Kerr said it was a matchup issue. They were a smaller, quicker, faster three-point shooting team. And that was true. And so he didn't play Embiid at all. But Embiid will be back in the starting lineup. And you just said it, boo. Go ahead and expound.
He's a square peg trying to be put in a round hole. As I said yesterday when I think it was Antonio Daniels was on the show, Zion Williamson should have been on the team in place of Joel Embiid. Embiid
you
just
could put
doesn't,
a lot of people instead, whether Zion or a lot of other people are too. I think.
Make the game more exciting. Try and get people to tune in more. They're going to win regardless. I just don't think Embiid's game
as the
fits.
women's team told you, they're not about, drawing fans. They're about winning. That's why they didn't have Caitlin Clark. I'm just saying.
If they want those elevated checks, let the men counterparts have. They better start being about drawing fans. But right. Embiid doesn't fit in any way. It's almost like the Olympic team felt obligated to bring Joel because he was MVP.
Or because he chose them. Remember, he could have played for France, could have played for Cameroon. He chose to play for Team USA. And
a lot of people choose America for citizenship.
Right, but he had his choice of which team to play for. No, I think they thought he would be their size. Last year in the FIBA World Cup, we ran into trouble against some of these teams that were bigger than us and were bullying us. We got out-rebounded dramatically, and we needed some bulk. But as I've said, and I hate to even keep saying it, because I've been saying this almost Embiid's entire career, at least as long as since he became a star, which was pretty much right away. I've been saying, dude, you might as well be 6'4".
Because he plays on the perimeter.
Yeah. Yes. And again, he is a phenomenal mid-range jump shooter. So I don't want to, I'm not saying I want you to go down and post up on the block like Shaq and be there 95% of the game or 100% of the game.
Oh, I'm just saying I want you to post up 1% of the game and remind me of Shaq.
I do. I want you to still shoot the mid-range jumper because you're so good at it. But when the situation calls for it, you need to go down low. And whether it's posting up, whether it's backing somebody down, whether it's cutting, flashing across the lane to the low post, whatever it may be, and the fact that he won't do it, Sean, is a problem on this team. And that's why you're talking about, him being a square peg.
Yeah.
Because the one thing he could give us that most of our other players couldn't is dominance down low. We don't need him on the perimeter. Every single time he's on the floor, he's got 4 excellent perimeter jump shooters or 4 good shooters with him. Mm-hmm. Let them have the perimeter. So now you, with your 7 foot, 300 pound behind, want to be out there with them, you getting in their way.
Would it be fair if I said he's probably the most frustrating player in the entire NBA? You can't say he's not productive because he produces. You can't say he's not skilled because he's skilled. But he's frustrating to watch because even when he has a great game, it could be greater. Like when he goes to those stretches where he's kind of lollygagging up the court, doesn't ever make it past a 3-point line.
His game looks incredibly lazy.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not going to call him lazy, but man, I will agree. I tend to agree with you on that. Watching him play, I say it, and most people I've said it to have agreed with it. He just got a lazy game.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he is just not giving it his all. And he might be. I'm not saying he's not, but he looks that way. And it does frustrate you because it looks like he's just not playing hard, not going 100%. And especially I think it's compounded by the fact that he really won't go down low and bang. And he's the biggest thing in the world, essentially, as far as not just height, but body size. And he won't go down there and use it.
And why I put frustrating as a label for him, because the 30% of the time that he is on the low block, he's shooting a fadeaway jumper.
Yeah.
70% of that 30%. Yep. And this was, to me, a huge misstep by the U.S. Olympic team men's basketball committee. I could understand a couple years ago when the Gasol brothers were with Spain and they had Mark and Powell, and you knew you had that probably as your gold medal game, and you would need a Embiid. But I mean, outside of Serbia, who, by the way, Embiid avoids at all costs in the regular season.
You do need size. He just ain't playing to his size.
Yeah, but you need athleticism with size in the Olympics to me.
I mean, everybody's not athletic.
And Bam.
Everybody's not that athletic. Jokic isn't incredibly athletic by what we term athleticism. He just plays hard, and it doesn't look like he's lollygagging. Let me put it that way. I just think, Embiid. I've said that Embiid should look at Jokic because, yes, Jokic plays a lot on the perimeter. He's a passer. He's basically their point guard in Denver. But he also, when the situation calls for it, he'll back you down and score. And there's no reason Embiid couldn't do the same thing. And
Embiid should be Shaq.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he could be Shaq. I don't want to say better than Shaq, but he would have that mid-range game that Shaq didn't have, or at least didn't use, and that could be even different. So this might be an oversimplification, Chris, but for a guy Embiid's size, he's probably dunked on the least amount of people that I can recall. Like normally a big guy like that is putting guys in the rim at least once a night. Even if he's not a Hakeem Olajuwon with his back to the basket, at least he's going to the hoop strong and finishing. I can't recall anybody Embiid's dunked on right off the top of my head. Nah, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but yeah, you might be right. I mean, yeah, you don't. His highlight is a 15-footer.
Right.
I don't think of him dunk. When I think of Embiid, in a positive way, I think of him hitting a mid-range jump shot. I don't think of him dunking on somebody.
And this team is talented, but don't you think people will be even more intrigued to watch them play if Zion was on the team in place of Embiid?
I mean, Zion, look, you ain't nobody, people off Zion.
I don't know why.
I'm not
he's
saying
coming off
he
his
can't
best
still
year.
be.
He's coming off his best year.
He's always fine. Okay, he's always hurt. I'm not totally off him, and I don't think anybody's completely off him. But this whole he's not the draw he used to be. He is now at a stage where he's gonna have to show us. He's gonna have to earn it back because people are just like, dude, he's hurt all the time.
This would have been a great stage to earn it back.
He doesn't rebound. I don't know that I don't know what he do on this team. I mean, we win it with or without him, but
it's just more exciting.
I just don't think he's, I don't think he's like the draw that he used to be. Sure, he might get some nice dunks, but he's a guy. He's another guy that has the ball in his hands a lot, and I think that's going to change with the makeup of their team now, or at least to some degree. Doesn't shoot the three. But doesn't always post up a lot either.
He
could be out there getting in your way too. But this is another thing I want to throw at you and tell me what you think.
Okay.
I also feel like Embiid looks like a guy that doesn't know what to do when the ball's not in his hands. Or I should say when he is not the focal point of the offense. I brought that up to Antonio Daniels.
I was going to bring that up.
But I think it's a little different. Like Devin Booker isn't necessarily the focal point in Phoenix. I mean, you got Kevin Durant too. I think it's to an elevated level with Embiid that unless he's the focal point, he really doesn't know what to do. And think about it. He started playing basketball late, played a year at Kansas, and every time he's been essentially on the team, certainly at the pro level, he's been the focal point.
Yeah, I thought Antonio Daniels made a great point. I thought Antonio made a great point, Chris. He said being in the Olympics is an opportunity. And he would say, I think it was Gilbert Arenas, he said he was having a conversation with about how much harder it is to be a role player than to be the number one option. And I think that's what you're seeing with Embiid. He's used to, they don't come down the court 3 times in a row and not call a play designed for Embiid.
3 times in a row.
Right. I don't care how hot Maxey is.
Pretty much every time he's getting the rock.
And so what you're seeing is because the plays aren't called for him, he's kind of lost. Like, what do I do? He's not a guy that impacts the game regardless if he's scoring or if he's taking shots.
Nah, because he does get you 10 or 11 rebounds just by virtue of his size. But, yeah, he's not like a dominant rebounder. He is a good defender, but he's not like a terrifying defender. And obviously, he's a fine passer, but he's not like great at that. Yeah, and again, a guy that's that tall, like even Wembanyama, and obviously he's taller than Embiid. Yes, he plays on the perimeter, but he also plays to his size. He's blocking a lot of shots. You know what I mean? His
effort level at trying to contest shots is much greater than Embiid. Embiid's not really even under their contesting shots, to be honest. Nah.
And look, Anthony Davis should be starting. And there's speculation.
I agree,
a lot
100%.
of people have felt like they promised Embiid a starting role if he chose to play for America. The reports have said that's not true. I don't know. My guess is it's not true. But I'm also saying, why then, outside of the game he didn't play at all, has he been a mainstay in the starting lineup?
I hope that's not true.
LeBron, Steph, and Embiid have been the 3 main
I hope
starters.
That's not true.
He's not good enough. It should be Anthony Davis, period.
I'm completely with Kyrie on this. They need to go back to the days where you had to compete to make the team. Like, I don't like all of this favoritism and handpicking this guy in the third. No offense to Derek White. Come on, man. You know what a slap in the face that is to a whole bunch of highlights. And I get it. I get the timing. Still, though, we're talking about a gold medal. Like, this only comes around once every 4 years.
They had Christian Laettner on the Dream Team.
Yeah, but, Duke's the best men's basketball program in the world. Coming off of now.
But he wasn't better than Shaq.
He wasn't. But Shaq was Shaq in college?
And he not only was he, it was between him and Shaq. Not only was he not better than Shaq, he wasn't better than a ton of NBA players that they could have put on that team.
Yeah, but at the time, they had to have a college guy, and we had given Shaq that business. Now, you don't know I'm a big Duke men's basketball fan.
You need to slow
By the way,
roll.
we might go undefeated and win it all this year. Having said that, Laettner gave Shaq some work now when LSU played Duke back in college.
I bet Shaq dunked on that dude.
Oh, come on, man. You're a hater.
Number of times. All right.